All right, my friends, welcome to episode 390 of Prof and Dev Play Games. My name is Larry. I am drinking an Ashland hard seltzer in honor of our trip that's coming up that Anthony discovered was not made in
Not,
Ashland at all.
nope,
It's
not
San Diego.
Ashland, Oregon. I'm sure there's other Ashlands, but although it's not even in an Ashland in California, so
No, exactly. I've got a Musgrove Mango, which
Nice.
is very good. For the only Padres pitcher to get a no-no. But anyway, over there was Anthony the Dev at Summer Speak. No, we don't say that anymore. Fuck Twitter.
Summer speaks somewhere. That's
You
true.
must be, yes. Okay. You have that handle somewhere. So find him somewhere or not, whatever. We are here this week to talk about the Nintendo Direct, which we fucking nailed. We called it last week. We said it was going to happen. It did. Every time that we say that, it takes a couple of weeks for it to come true, but this time it was the next day.
It's true.
Which was pretty awesome. And then we're going to talk about Final Fantasy XVI, which we've been playing the hell out of, and I think Anthony finally got past where I was.
Yes, I did. And I will not spoil you because I don't want to, because this game is too good for spoiling.
Very cool. So yeah, why don't we dig in to the Nintendo Direct, which was, in my view, a banger. It had a bunch of cool shit.
Yeah, they had a lot of stuff. A lot of
if you're
cool
a Mario
stuff.
fan.
Yeah, it definitely felt like a bit of a Mario Direct in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Which is fine. But as I said shortly before starting, no Odyssey 2, so they're holding that one. Next big 3D Mario game, I'm calling for the next, whatever the successor to the Switch is.
It's going to be a launch title for sure.
Yep.
And it makes me think of Ubisoft. God, in the last couple of weeks when they were talking about kind of disappointment with Sparks of Hope, Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope sales, they said that Nintendo explicitly told them launch one game of a type per console generation because the second one won't do nearly as well as the first one. So if you have something that's similar, save it. And I was like, oh shit, that's what Nintendo's doing.
Yeah.
I don't know, except for Pokemon, which is like a different company, I guess. But really, we're getting... we got Odyssey, but we haven't got another 3D Mario. And we'll talk about what else we're getting this thing. But Tears of the Kingdom launched, but honestly, Breath of the Wild launched on the Wii U.
It was a hybrid between the consoles.
So it doesn't exactly count. So that's interesting. But anyway, I think, well, we'll get that later. But yeah, I agree. So we started off with some Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC. Looks
always, sure. More Pokemon, it just print that money.
Exactly.
Most profitable IP in existence or something like that.
I mean, the amount of
based on the
Pokemon...
card sales, game sales,
yeah,
TV show, anime, movies. I'm pretty sure it's up there as like one of the highest grossing IPs of all time.
Yeah, I saw a list at some point in the last 6 months, and like Gundam was like number 1 or 2 or whatever, and Pokemon was 7 or 8. I mean, my daughter's birthday was this weekend, and she got like Pokemon coloring books, Pokemon trading cards, Pokemon Switch case, all this, tons of stuff. And I was like, people know she likes Pokemon, so they just went for it.
As of however Wikipedia has this list of highest gross media franchises, Pokemon is number 1.
Number 1? Fuck. Okay, I thought it was 6.
By total revenue. Wow. By total revenue, it is $76.4 billion.
Jesus Christ. For a bunch of weird-ass pocket monsters.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is a lot. Holy crap.
Well, we saw a couple Pokemon things in this Direct. We'll get to the second one later. But
you had that, and then you had some Sonic Superstars, which is where's Sonic Superstars? So that's the 3D 2D.
It's the new 2D one that the team. Yeah. I guess the one person that worked on Balan Wonderworld, which makes me like stop in my tracks.
That's right.
But it looks good, and then they had a separate Sonic presentation where they were having like a Lego DLC crossover kind of thing.
Sure.
With that game, it looks interesting. I don't know. I'm not a Sonic person, so.
Not me. Not really me either. I'm trying to think of the only Sonic game I really got into. It was Sonic CD.
Oh, wow.
That was a fun one. You could back and forth in time by going fast enough. It was, just for a platformer, incredibly creative platformer.
Okay, because that's in the Sonic Origins Plus that just got re-released.
Sonic CD was fun.
Okay.
You did quite a bit. It was a little bit just real interesting level design because of those levels in 3 different time periods. You could shift between based I'm going fast enough. Yes, because Sonic can go through time because he goes so fast. He's like the Flash, or whatever,
or Superman.
Or Superman. Palia. What was that? I'm like,
it's a free to play, like cozy farm game.
Oh, that's why I checked out free to play. Mechanics. Moving on.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, then because we got to the next one, which I was like, hell yeah.
I have a question for you. And as far as I can tell from Fantasy Critic, you didn't make a bid for this game.
I hadn't at that time.
Okay, I was like, did I get? Am I holding a bag here? Because it looks pretty good.
I think when they first announced it, no, not necessarily. They just when they originally announced it, I was like, cool, this looks neat. But if you're looking at Fantasy Critic and things like that, some of the offshoots of Personas aren't the highest rated things. They're like, God, they have the 3DS ones that they were doing.
Yep.
Those the fighters haven't been. They're not bad games, but they're not like ones that would be like, oh, this is going to get me a lot of points.
Got it. Okay.
And Tactica can be similar to that. But it looks cool. It's my type of game. I'm like, I'm here for this.
Really
neat tactics game. Chibi and cute. Honestly, it does. I'm like, this would have been on the 3DS if that system still existed in some ways. It totally has that look to it. It does. And it makes sense that it's on Switch. It's on everything, actually. So I have to choose where I'm going to play this.
I kind of want to hear how it runs on the Switch.
That's kind of how I want to feel. But then I'm like, I have all my trophies and everything on PlayStation. I'm like, but I want to get the... Do I want to get the platinum for this to continue my platinum run in Persona 5
Where did you get Strikers?
I'm one achievement away from platinum. I'm 11 hours of grinding. That's all I have to do to get that achievement. I just have never wanted this down and just do the 11 hours of grind.
What is the trophy then? If it's
I have to get to level 9. I have to get all my characters 99. It's just grind. It's just grind experience and grind. There's a currency as well, but if you grind to 99, you're going to get all the currency you need to buy all the abilities. So yeah, it's purely that, and the way to do it is someone calculated it out. It's like fighting the mini boss right before the main boss, because you can just keep repeating it, and it would takes about 10 to 11 hours of just fighting this one boss to get
over and over the same boss. God, that's mind-numbing.
Yeah, kind of. It's hard for me to decide I want to do that. But I'm
that's
so
how
close.
I feel about Assassin's Creed Syndicate, where I just need to knock down all those light poles, and god damn it.
Oh right, well they put the 0 in the wrong place.
Yeah, 5,000 light poles, and it probably should have been 500.
500? Yeah, probably. The next one looked cool, Myth Force. They called it a
Saturday
morning cartoon rogue, and I'm like, it looks like a freaking Saturday morning cartoon of our youth. Like Thundercats, holy crap.
Yeah, it looked a lot like Thundercats. The only thing that not threw me off, but that the first person, I just don't know if I like those, like Skyrim-ish kind of perspective. I don't know if I like that.
I don't know how I feel about that either. I haven't seen anyone actually do action-y combat, non-shooter based combat.
Yes, exactly.
That's actually that great. That's the problem.
Really good though.
Yeah,
that is exactly the problem. But it looks really good. I think they really they've nailed even the voice acting is like not fantastic in a way that is supposed to be not fantastic. It feels like, at least. But it's Beamdog is working on this. Is that right?
Are they?
I saw their name on it. There it is, Beamdog. Yep.
All right.
So I thought Beamdog did like it's Aspire and Beamdog. So Aspire's
a publisher.
Yeah, so Beamdog is the developer. Isn't Beamdog the ones that did like the CRPGs?
They did like the Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition and stuff like that. Yeah, they did stuff like that.
Okay.
I'm trying to think who's at Beamdog. Such a weird name for a studio. Beamdog. It was founded by ex-BioWare people.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
And they've done a lot of work taking older games and making them run, or doing enhanced editions like they did. Yeah. Baldur's Gate 2, Icewind Dale, Neverwinter Nights, Planescape Torment.
Yep, that's why they're in my head for those games.
Yep. Trying to think. I want to say a writer from BioWare was there for a while.
Not like Gator or anything?
No. I can't remember the person's name. They may not be there because they wrote... Because something, when they did one of the Baldur's Gates, they added content or re-added like cut content, and they had a writer help them out, like ex-BioWare writer help them out, re-add in the quests and the dialogue and all that.
Got it.
I don't know if they're there anymore, but either way.
Well, I really considered picking this up for Fantasy Critic, except for, just the first-person perspective. I'm not sure how it's going to play, but goddamn, it looks good.
Yeah.
But it's also coming soon. There's no date, so I don't want to get stuck picking something up that doesn't have a date, and then I'm just stuck with it.
That's true. That's very true. Splatfest is going on. Choose your ice cream flavor.
My daughter chooses vanilla. That's her favorite.
That would be my daughter's favorite as well. Boring.
Yeah.
So boring.
I know, man. So
I'm mint
boring.
chip. I'm mint chip all the way. Sorry.
Yeah, of these three, mint chip. But then there's strawberry as well. I like vanilla, or French vanilla. Like, I'll get down for French vanilla, but like vanilla, not great. Sorry, daughter.
I'll do vanilla when I'm doing other things with it. Like, give me a scoop of vanilla ice cream with the strawberry rhubarb pie I had tonight.
Oh,
perfect. Yeah. That's great. It cuts the sweetness nicely, get a little creamy. Perfect. But vanilla just on its own, just like a scoop of vanilla ice cream, nah.
Not worth the calories.
No.
What is worth the calories is Pikachu Returns. Finally.
Cut.
Pikachu Detective Returns, sorry. Pikachu Returns. God damn it.
There you go.
Finally got there. Detective Pikachu Returns. It was like announced, 2019?
Long time. Feels like a while ago.
Yeah.
Pre the movie, I think.
Yeah, or right around it. Like,
they're like, we're doing a movie and we'll do another game. Many years later, they now show more of the game.
It looks like it was developed for 3DS. Maybe.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it's a Pokemon game. How does
it is?
They don't have Monolith Soft to help them out make the game look great and run great.
Don't. It looks not so great. But my daughter and I played the beginning, probably the first hour or so of Detective Pikachu last weekend, actually. And we enjoyed it, but it's very, it's good. It'll be a great thing for her to play by herself when she's able to read, like in 3 or 4 years, whatever. Like, it's really for children, and it's really easy. But I don't know, it was engaging. It felt like a lived-in world. So some people were very excited about this announcement.
That's it. But I was very excited about the next announcement.
Oh my God.
And I think most of people our age are really excited about this announcement.
Like tears. People were crying over this announcement.
Super Mario RPG remake. It's happening. It's been a long time coming if they were going to do this.
Man, this is... was it 96 when it came out? It was Super Nintendo, wasn't it?
It was. I think it was pre-96.
Oh, okay.
No, it was 96. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's later than I thought.
When they've taken off the subtitle, it's just Super Mario RPG now instead of the 7
Legend of the Seven Stars, yeah.
Yeah.
But it still has the copyrights Nintendo and Square.
Nice.
It was in there.
I mean,
because Square made this game.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. It was a really good game. I just remember it. I've only played it. I never owned it. Someone else I knew owned it. And I borrowed it and played it. And I was like, this is good. It's a legitimately good RPG.
Yeah, the reaction has basically been like, this is one of the best RPGs there is. And it's coming back finally. Like, they're like, Nintendo games, I guess maybe specifically like this and like 1,000 Year Door. People have been clamoring for. And God, I never played it. I've seen it a lot. I just never, I don't know. I wasn't into RPGs at that point.
Yeah.
And I very much am now. I'm very much looking forward to this.
And this is very much a RPG of that time. Like,
in terms of like
it's more, it's more Final Fantasy than any kind of like what like the Paper Mario series or anything like that went to, which are very loose spiritual successors to this game. But this is, you have your hit points and special attacks. The This one had a lot of active during the turn-based combat. So like Mario would jump on something, you could hit A at the right time when he's landing to do extra damage, and
sure,
it was involved turn-based combat, but it was still turn-based combat. I can't remember if it was ATB or not. I'd have to go back and check. Well, that kind of
stuff has come into or remained, into the Mario and Luigi games, and also Paper Mario and such.
Yeah. I remember when Paper Mario came out, people were like, oh, this is a spiritual successor to Mario RPG, and I played, and I was like, maybe, kind of, not really, though. Like, this is not your, really what I'd consider, a complete spiritual successor to that game. They deviated. They reduced the RPG stuff quite a bit. More than anything.
And just the lineage, like going to the Paper Mario and Luigi, then Paper Mario, all that stuff, like it just lost more and more of the RPG-ness.
Yeah, as it went on.
I still like the new stuff, but it's not so much an RPG anymore, to be honest.
No, not so much. But it was cool, and it was a really exciting announcement. Unexpected, a great thing for this year coming. Good holiday game to count. I have it.
Well, and to have. Like, that felt like a very big game to be very early in the direct, Yeah. It was like 10 minutes in or something like that.
Yep.
So the next one, my daughter popped for hard.
Sure.
She was so excited. It's new Nintendo Switch,
Peach game.
A new Peach game for the Nintendo
That's all
Switch.
they call it. New Peach game.
Yep. And it looks like it's maybe not like the old Peach game, which was like playing with her emotions. Like she has to love or cry. Like it's maybe more than that. Looks like a stage play in some way.
That's what it looked like to me. But who knows?
We didn't see much.
No, and if they say 2024, I'm like, okay, late 2024, probably. I don't know. They're not showing a lot, so I'm like, I'm not prepared to think that they're that far along with it.
Yeah, I feel like, God, it would have been good this year with the Mario movie where she's such a star in that movie.
Yeah.
But whatever, I'm excited it's coming. Like, work on it, make it good. Please don't fuck this up. I'm really excited about that. Next one is Luigi's Mansion 2 Dark Moon is getting remastered from 3DS for the Switch.
Cool.
So cool. Good game, I hear. I've never played it, but I own it.
Neither have I. You own it but haven't played it? Cool.
At the very end of the 3DS going offline. So
you're like, give me all the things.
That's when I grabbed. And I was like, okay. Fucking sucker. Now they're going to remaster all the 3DS shit for Switch.
That's true.
Maybe that's why I shut it down.
We get here a next series of games that are going to run like ass on the Switch.
Oh my God.
The Arkham Trilogy and Gloomhaven are both going to be terrible on the Switch. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they really are.
Arkham, for its own thing of the fidelity and everything. Gloomhaven is just... It's an Unreal Engine game, I'm pretty sure, on PC. I'm just like... And even how it showed, I'm like, this is real muddy to get this to run on the Switch. Like,
well, I mean, the Arkham thing was super muddy, too. It's like, ugh.
Everyone just wants the Switch. Everyone just wants part of that market.
Hell yeah. Pets, port everything to Switch.
Yeah.
Arkham Knight is going to melt the Switch. Like, I just don't get it. That's a PS4 game.
Yeah.
And it's not like an online stream thing. This is like natively playing on the...
Well, I mean, they got Witcher 3 on there.
You know what? Touche.
No, and I put that in quotes of got it on there. It's not an ideal play experience, but it exists.
There are a lot of compromises.
Technically, it plays.
Yep, it does. And it plays better than I thought it would, which is not any sort of metric to measure anything by, but it doesn't melt. But those are not going to play well.
No. We get another Just Dance. We can move right along because that's just
sure can.
Every year we're going to get one.
Mm-hmm. I don't know much about the next one, Silent Hope.
It is a chibi cutesy roguelite. Action roguelite. Could be interesting. Like, I just saw it though. I was like, okay, it's a cutesy roguelite. It has like go out, do your runs, get whatever items you get, come back, build up at your base, buy things, get better, stronger, continue out.
But is it like a PC game? Do you know it as a PC game at all? Or
I have not heard. It's XSeed who's putting it out.
Right. Which means something that, there's a baseline of quality for XSeed games as far as I'm concerned.
Generally, yeah. And And that might mean that it will come, because usually Xseed stuff, I think, comes to a lot of different platforms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does it say? I'm saying if there's anybody that says plan to release internationally on PC and Nintendo Switch. So you can get this on PC. It'll probably be on Steam.
Okay, so this is not on PC yet. So okay, this is a new.
Yeah, it's not out there yet.
New.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's gonna a very sim release on this October 3rd date.
Yeah.
Fae Farm, another farming simulator thing by Phoenix Labs.
Yep.
Looks cute. Could be fun. There's a lot of Cozy Farm games. I'll say that.
Yeah, remember that direct we had before that was just all Cozy Farm games?
Yeah, and then we're still at Cozy Farm all the time. The Stardew Valley effect. It took many years, but it's happening.
Yeah. So is Fae Farm, is it free to play? Is it a buy game? I don't remember them saying. I don't see in the
I think it's a premium game. I think you have to buy it.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. That's the word. Phoenix Labs, are they the ones that did Dauntless?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Got it. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a purchase. You have to buy the game.
Okay.
And
I expect it to be quality in some way. So
yeah, and it's launching on Switch, Steam, and Epic.
Yeah. I guess if someone would have been hired by Phoenix Labs like 4 or 5 years ago, they might have been working on this game.
That's possible, actually. It just might have been working. Could have been a thing. But no.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Looks cute. My daughter thought it was interesting. So
yeah.
There's that.
It's very co-op focused as well, though. I know that. Like, it's...
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can do solo, but they really... Phoenix's thing is, like, they want to do a lot of multiplayer stuff. So
right. It's
really built in a way that, like, supports having up to, like, 4 people all managing a farm and doing this all together kind of thing. So...
Yeah. That's cool.
Hot Wheels.
Yep. Also cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I have the original on Switch, but because I have it on PS4, I never actually loaded it up on Switch. So I don't know exactly how it runs on Switch, but I like it's a good game on the Switch.
Yeah.
The first one, or the PS4. I mean, PS5, I should say. So, yeah. Yay. Manic Mechanics was next, and it just seems like a chaotic management game, like Cook Serve Delicious or Overcooked.
Overcooked. The thing I was trying to see from this trailer, do you actually like build your cars and then have to race them?
I don't remember a racing component. I thought you were just trying to
assembling,
put the cars back together. Yeah.
Well, there was like in the trailer, there's like a segment around like 8 or 9 seconds into this trailer that has cars and jumps.
Oh, you're right. Yep.
And I'm like, so do you have to like have a time and you're trying to put the cars together and then go race?
Well, yeah,
because that could be cute. That could be cute.
Yep. Not my kind of game, but I'm glad it's out there for someone whose kind of game it is. The next one is my kind of game, but I still haven't played it yet. The Sparks of Hope has its second DLC drop. Me too. But there's so much other things to play.
Yes.
So many other things to play. But there's
the thing is, they are supporting it.
They are
impressive.
Yeah, 2 DLCs. Is this the one that has Rayman in it? Or is that the last one? I don't remember. I don't see Rayman in this trailer.
I don't see it in the trailer, so I assume it's the last one.
Yeah, or there's a third one, but I doubt that, actually, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then you have Be Aware. Stopping her won't be easy, as she has created an all-powerful, never-before-seen weapon, the Mecha King Babam. Excellent.
Okay.
So, good stuff. That's out. That was out as day of the direct. So.
Yep.
Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince is next.
Dragon Quest Pokemon.
Yes, Dragon Quest Pokemon. My daughter was like, "Wait, you can make your own monsters by putting monsters together?" I was like, "It looks like that's what you can do."
Yeah, it's kind of that. It's capture monsters and then combine monsters into unique monsters and then fight.
Yes.
I think there's a Dragon Quest Monsters already. This is the second.
Okay. Well, with the subtitle, yeah, that makes sense, I guess.
Series. It's a series. There's actually quite...
Okay.
Holy crap. They started in 1998. There's a lot of them.
Oh, wow. Okay. They were in on the Pokemon thing early.
Cool. Yeah. Yep. There's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. 14 with spin-offs.
Wow. Okay. That's a series that is flown under the radar.
Including the spin-offs, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that's a thing. That's a franchise that probably goes under the radar, some in the West, but I'm sure.
Yep.
is loved. Got some
My daughter's
Pikmin,
excited
Pikmin
you
4.
can make monsters. But yeah, Pikmin 4, you got some glow Pikmin. They're adding that to the game for the After Dark crew. This game's coming out in a month.
I know. Not my type of game. Pikmin has never been my
game.
Been my type of game, but I feel like it's always pretty quality, and the people that like Pikmin, I think this is up for them. And
it's up their alley for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I picked up 3 on the Wii U, and I was like, wow, people were really excited about it. I picked it up. I was like, nope, this is not my kind of game.
I haven't tried it since the original, which was on GameCube.
Right. Which, speaking of the original, they both got dropped on the eShop, kind of like a Metroid Prime. The physical will come later, but Pikmin 1 and 2 are in a bundle for $50 or individual for $30.
There you go.
Yeah. So if you want to get into Pikmin, there you go. You're gonna have all 4 Pikmin on the Switch. Let's get all of everything on the Switch, please.
That's what's happening. Get everything on the Switch.
Yeah.
Like the next set, Metal Gear Solid Master Collection. And you want to know a sound effect that it plays, and it's just immediate, embedded in my brain and nostalgia and memories. It's the goddamn alert sound from Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, hell yes.
Ring! And I'm like, oh, I know exactly where I am. I am thrown back to high school. Every time I hear that sound, which is, I would put it up there as one of the best sound effects ever in video games.
It really is iconic.
It really is. I'm just like, Jesus. But we're getting Metal Gear Solids 1, 2, and 3, and it also includes the old NES Metal Gears as well.
That's the only one that I played was the original Metal Gear on NES, and it was hard as fuck.
Yeah,
hard as
they
fuck.
really are.
I really worked hard on that game, and I was like, I did not get this.
Yeah.
So good for Kojima.
Metal Gear Solid still absolute incredible game. Out of all of them, I should
probably play it. I haven't.
Solid.
I've only watched our friend Travis play it.
Yeah.
When he got dumped by his girlfriend.
I'd recommend. Well, I have the Twin Snakes version on GameCube.
Still. I wish that's what was coming here, because I feel like that's the definitive version.
I don't think it is, though. That's the thing.
Oh, okay.
I've always heard mixed things about it. I enjoyed it, but they change a number of things. Because they add in cutscenes and change mechanics somewhat, and I don't know where Kojima stands on that. If that is definitive for him, or if it was Konami doing an offshoot thing at the time, because he didn't have control over it at Konami. Konami can do whatever the hell they want with the brand. So I've always heard that it people are a little bit wishy-washy on it. From a presentation standpoint, it looks closer to Metal Gear Solid 2. And what we're getting here looks very much like they're not changing a lot of it. Visually, it looks like Metal Gear Solid on the PS.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it looks.
Which is fine. I still think it's a very iconic look, and they did a great job at the time.
There's a bunch of extra stuff too, a bunch of PDFs, played through the music and the soundtrack and such. There's a lot in there. I assume it's a $60 thing, but there's a lot in there for $60.
I would think so.
Yeah.
That's another thing this October.
Yeah, would you play? Fuck, seriously, my daughter, as she was watching it, she was like, Daddy, everything's in October. I was like, I know. I don't know why, but they're doing it. Is this something that you think would run fine on Switch, or is this something you would play somewhere else?
I bet 1 and 2 for sure would run fine on Switch.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 3, what was its original?
I thought it was PS2. It was PS2.
Okay. Then it's probably fine still.
Yeah.
Okay. It would only be... Right, because Metal Gear Solid 4 was PS3.
PS3, and only PS3. Never came to anything else.
I know. The rare one. But they probably will be coming somewhere else, because they've stated this is Master Collection Volume 1.
Yes.
They've said they'll likely a Master Collection Volume 2, which would probably be Metal Gear Solid 4, 5...
Peace Walker,
all the couple spin-off stuff.
Yep.
That's just another compilation of that stuff. Right. So,
and 5, I don't think would run very well on Switch at all.
No. I don't think those next ones are going to be put on Switch. I don't think the next collection comes to Switch.
Yeah.
Unless
they piecemeal out Peace Walker.
Yeah.
Could, so.
That's true. Next we had Vampire Survivors coming to the Switch.
Perfect.
I'm actually shocked. I'm like, I don't know how the Switch is going to handle this game.
Oh, really?
Oh, there are times when it makes my PC cry.
Oh,
with so much stuff on screen, because it's not graphical, it's CPU intensive.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's just so much stuff. But the one thing about this, which is cool, is it adds multiplayer.
Yes, and only on Switch version, apparently.
Uh-huh.
What the fuck?
I don't know. I mean,
Like,
it will probably only be like $5, so I'll probably buy it again, because why not? But,
yes, exactly. It just feels like the perfect place to have it on the Switch,
true.
man.
Yes.
But my mind is boggled by them putting a pretty interesting gameplay add-on that is only on the Switch.
I know.
4-player local co-op.
Yeah.
God damn. Like, if you're doing 4-player local co-op, so you're 4-timing the player characters, do you 4 times the fucking other characters on the screen too? It's just
I don't know.
Wow, man. Wow.
I only can assume it's some... I don't know. Maybe it will come back to other platforms with that at some point, but I don't know. The next 2 games I don't really care about, I'll be honest.
I don't either.
And Headbangers and
Penny's Big Breakaway is done by the Sonic Mania team, so I'm interested because of that. I thought Sonic Mania was decent. I mean, and people loved Sonic Mania. I just feel like the way this game looks is, it was a tough sell for me. So.
Yes, I was not sold on that game.
I think that was the one I'm going to look at reviews for, because if it's a solid platformer, then I'll check it out. But the way it looked was like hard. It was hard for me to read it.
Yeah.
And that was challenging for me.
Get some more Mario Kart courses.
Oh my god! Two things.
It never stops.
It never stops. This is wave 5. There's another wave. I think aren't there 8 waves? I should know this. Maybe there's 6. Anyway, 2 things. One, my daughter's very excited to play as Kamek, and my daughter was like, "Who's Kamek?" He called him Kamek in the thing. I don't never heard anyone say Kamek. So he's Kamek, my friends. But they made a course, the bathroom course. I just love how they were just like, we're going to bring tour courses and old courses remastered. And they're like, nah, fuck it. We're going to make a new course for each one. So very excited. We always load them up and play a couple times and then are done. So
if you were going through Japanese, it would be
Kamek.
It would be Kameku.
That's true. Yeah,
would be the Japanese reading for it, but it would be Kamek would be how you would read the name.
Yes, that's right. So I've never heard anyone in English say Kamek.
No, because we don't typically do that. We always try to do the hard. Yeah, and that's not in Japanese.
That's right. Japanese has 5 L's.
Pretty much.
We have 12.
Yeah.
Including the nasally. The next one I want to apologize for you for.
I know, I already saw it on Fantasy Critic. You got it. This is supposedly the good Star Ocean.
This is apparently the best Star Ocean, yeah.
Yeah.
And I am super confused about Fantasy Critic now, because we could get this one. We weren't able to get Super Mario RPG.
Oh.
They're both remakes.
I don't know. That's weird.
Fuck. Yeah, it's very weird. So, anyway. This is Star Ocean, the second story R, which is the first Star Ocean that came to the West, as far as I know.
Yep.
And they've remastered the first one, and now this is the second one, and this is the one people are just losing their shit for. And it's HD2D. So.
Yep, has a G2D look to it, and I'm very excited to try it, because I never played the originally. And I would love to try a good Star Ocean game. The one that people did. This is like the really good one. Sci-fi fantasy kind of stuff going on here. I'm here for it. It looks neat. I like HD2D.
Yep.
Big cast of characters.
Yeah, They even added like some of the stuff from Octopath, I believe, or like the break system, which they may not have had originally. So
no, that's cool.
I believe I read that. So
I'm excited for that. And again, another November game. It's this Persona 5 Tactica, Super Mario RPG. Are definitely 3 coming out within 2 weeks of each other.
Well, you've got this game, and then the next day is WarioWare Move It, which is a totally different audience.
Yeah, I'm not getting WarioWare. I enjoy WarioWare. It's weird with the WarioWare games. I am amused by them, enjoy them. I never really want to buy them.
Yeah,
I don't play them enough to care. Like, I get amused, then I'm done.
I've never played WarioWare. I know they're just like, there's 200 mini games here. The mini games are like 5 seconds each or whatever. Yep. They're super short. My daughter, besides Princess Peach, was like, "Daddy, can we please get this game?"
Sure.
She just thought it was hilarious, and I was like, "All right, we'll check it out."
honestly what they're supposed to be.
Yeah, this is the market. This is exactly it. This is going to be a lot of fun. So I think we're going to check it out. Although she also did say that about 1-2 Switch.
No,
which I have pre-ordered. So I will take one for the team.
Why would you? No, you're not taking anything for the team. Like, that's just awful.
I will play that.
There's no team.
There's no team.
You're just punishing yourself now.
It's going to be a collector's item because no one's going to buy it.
Sure. What's going to be a collector's item are these next things, and I'm totally getting these.
Oh my god, if I don't get these two things, I'm going to lose my shit. It's Zelda and a fucking hot Ganondorf amiibo.
Yep.
Oh my god. And the Zelda one looks super cool because you got the Master Sword. Oh my god.
Yep.
And then Thirsty Ganon.
Yep.
So I want to stop here because this is the only Zelda news we got besides thanks for playing Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I want to know what you think of this. I think because we basically had no Zelda here, and there's certainly DLC for Tears of the Kingdom coming, that they're going to have a Zelda Direct.
Yeah, I could see that eventually.
Sometime this year.
Yeah.
At that Zelda Direct, we're going to get DLC, yada, yada, yada. We're going to get Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. And if it doesn't happen there, it's never happening.
I agree with you. If it does, it will not be happening if we don't see that.
All right.
I agree. But we're at this Direct. And this Direct was all about Mario.
Yeah, man, which means...
And then they announced Mario on drugs.
Dude, seriously, like, here. We want you all to eat shrooms and then make a game.
And we're not going to have Mario eat mushrooms and go crazy in this. He eats...
It's like flowers, right?
Wonder flowers or something. Yeah, and then it just is like, whoa. It turns into an elephant and flowers talk to him. Like... Seriously, this game's on drugs.
There was some tweet. It was like, dude, this elephant, the porn is going to be awful.
Oh, no.
There's like a deep, quote unquote, deep dive of the animation comparing this to New Super Mario Brothers animation style, which has been around since the DS and people were desperate to move on from. And some of the reaction to the Direct was like, it looks too much like New Super Mario Brothers. And then people dug into the animations, and there's so many nuanced animations for Mario in tons of different situations that it's like not at all like it at all.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
It's got it. I will say, Small Mario looks real weird in this one.
He's got some weird proportions.
Yeah. Sure. I'm like, I don't know if I like that.
Yep. How about Super Tall Mario?
Yeah.
Shadow Super Tall Mario.
I don't know. It's so weird. Yeah, I'm watching. I have the trailer muted, and eating a shroom, and now everything's going crazy.
I love the I'm gonna call it flavor text when you step on things or whatever. Like, good, awesome, terrific, all this sort of colorful shit.
Yeah, and it's so weird.
It's so weird, but you get playable Daisy. Yeah, like we get Daisy and Peach, which obviously my family was very excited about.
I'll be honest, I'm getting big Mario 2 vibes out of this.
Oh, someone else said that too. Yeah, I think that's a good call.
I really am, because that game was also super weird.
It was quite weird, and there was some like shadow stuff, where you went in the pipes and or whatever, the old world and whatever. I'm excited. I looked at how much money you had left in your Fantasy Critic, and I bid $1 more than all the money you had just to get this one because I'm very excited about it.
I saw that you spent like all your money.
I did. I have way less money than you now, but I only have one spot left anyways.
Yeah.
This is coming out October 20th. This is the big 2D Mario for the year, but also the big 2D Mario at all. This whole generation, we haven't had a 2D Mario that was new.
It's so true.
Yep. So, and then you get to turn into a fucking elephant. You're like Flood on steroids.
I have no clue. I don't. This game is so weird.
It's so weird. I can't wait. It could be really, really good or really, really bad. But I doubt it's going to be bad.
I don't think a Mario game's going to be bad.
Yeah.
But I can definitely see it being not everyone's taste.
Yeah, exactly. Like so weird that they just, they follow their bliss.
Yeah.
But that's okay because a month later you get Super Mario RPG, which is in November, which feels like their big game of the year.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
So
it was a good Direct though. I mean, they finished with that, and I'm just like, okay. Nintendo came out swinging. They're like, yeah, the Switch still matters. It's still the biggest console of this cycle. It's still selling a ton. So here you go, bunch of games. a lot of ports, but everyone wants all the games on the Switch. So,
I mean, just what kind? This console is like the best Nintendo console.
Yeah.
Partially because it has all the best stuff from the previous Nintendo consoles, or many of them, I should say, not all of them.
But it also just now has stuff from, like, it's been so successful. All major third party and even minor third party pretty much have to put their stuff here too.
Yeah.
They just do, because they don't want that market they don't want to miss the market. The enormous number of consoles out in the wild.
Well, and the people, because there's so many consoles or Switches out there, and partially because of the pandemic or whatever, but there are a lot of people who only have a Switch. They don't have anything else.
Yep.
So even some, like the Arkham trilogy, for example, like there's no reason to put it on there, because it's everywhere else. But if you only have a Switch, I mean, I guess you're trying to get that money, but it's gonna run. It's just gonna look bad, man.
Yeah. Yep.
Whatever.
But it was cool. It was a good direct, and I was pretty happy for it.
Fuck. Really, really good. Absolutely. Looking forward to the Zelda Direct later this year. But this Mario one was amazing.
Yeah. And this happened on Wednesday. And on Thursday, I could start playing probably my favorite game in a long time.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about it. Final Fantasy 16. I was lucky enough to play the Wednesday night because I had the digital. I
watched you briefly, and I texted you, and I was like, and my brief, quick thing was like, "Oh, he's just brute forcing the combat right now." There's no finesse going on here.
No, and I certainly should have probably did what you did, which is restart. But I was like, "What the fuck? What do I need to do?" Oh yeah, I forgot.
What are the buttons that I need to be pressing here?
Yeah, by the time I'm done with this game, my square button is going to be fucking destroyed.
So I mean. First thing for me, I'm using layout B.
Oh, okay.
Control. So circle is my dodge, and R1 and R2 are my attack and magic, respectively.
Sure.
Square being what I hold down to use my special abilities. So I switched it because I was not weirdly, like playing a lot of Diablo 4 and then previously Elden Ring and all soul stuff. I'm just really accustomed to circle being my evade, dodge.
Yeah, sure.
So I just was like, fine, I'll do it. I still don't think it's optimal. I would really, really, really like square and triangle to be my attack and magic, and circle be my dodge, and X be my jump, and then have my holding down for special be on like R2 or something.
Yeah.
But it's fine. Well,
yeah, I feel like you could fully. I wish you could fully remap.
They did a presentation before the game came out, and they got feedback from the demo, and they're going to look into it, patching that in.
Even just an accessibility standpoint,
Yeah, exactly. Which, I mean, a lot of games don't let you do full remapping yet. I would say that's a newer thing on consoles that's slowly picking up steam.
Yeah.
But
well, you can at a system level on the PS5.
You could remap stuff system level. It will just make it weird in like menus and things.
Exactly. Press circle when it's really R2 or whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, so we both started playing. I saw you play a little bit on Wednesday night. Bowed out before seeing anything drastic because I was like, nope, don't want spoiled. I want to just play this.
Yep.
Thursday, I got it and basically finished. I had to do a bunch of stuff on Thursday, so I wasn't able to sit down with it until later. Then restarted the game fresh, and I made it through the basically all the demo stuff and the next couple fights after that. I made it to the hideaway, and that's where I stopped for the night. But I don't even know. I don't want to spoil this for anybody. I've watched your streams to check where you are. Yes, I am further than you now.
Because I finished right where Martha's Rest was basically done.
And I've continued through past that significantly.
Okay.
I think 2 major story beats past that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which I'm like, man, I must be getting like halfway through this game at this point. And then I'm like, no, I'm at like 30% of the way through this game.
Yeah, I feel like you're probably at 10 hours.
Something like that. I've done every side quest that's come up. I don't get the flack on the side quests that people are. The first ones feel very much like... Okay, actually, let's step back on this game. Now that from my perspective on this is a Final Fantasy for people who have never done a Final Fantasy before, and is structured in a way for people who have not ever touched this type of game.
The like combat, are new to RPGs anyways?
New to RPGs, okay. New to action RPGs. Actually kind of new to games in some ways. Mm-hmm. The first side quests you get are just simple fetch quests in the hideaway. Nothing special. They are... People are like, these are crap. And I'm like, they're quick. They're easy and quick. They give you a little bit of lore. And they give you a reward that helps you craft better gear immediately. And I was like, what this is not... These aren't meant to be big, meaty side quests right now. They are meant to introduce a player who hasn't really done side quests before to the concept of side quests.
Yeah.
Like, I can get it if it was like making me have like some menial thing that took me so long to do, but those literally took me each one took me about 2 minutes tops.
Yeah, it was very quick. And I feel like some of the, I don't know.
And they get meatier as you go on. I've done every side quest, and they're starting to get pretty meaty.
Yep.
And a lot more meaningful. There has been 2 side quests that were right next to each other, and a place I just went that are some of the darkest shit I've seen in this game. Like, holy hell.
Yeah, I feel like it's starting off. For me, the thing that saved those early ones, because I feel like they were fetch quests and kind of a little boring. 2 things. One, they were quick. You're right. But honestly, I thought the lore was cool. Like, it was just little pieces of lore that built in the story, which I feel like I played very little Final Fantasy XIV, but some of the early fetch quests I picked up in Final Fantasy XIV did the same thing.
Yeah, and that's what these are for. And they get more complex as the game goes on. As you get more of them. There's not a ton of them. Like, I've probably done 6 or 7 at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I've just opened up in Martha's Rest, basically the third set, probably.
Oh, actually, probably about 10 then, actually thinking of it. But there's not a ton. You don't come across them, like, all the time, and they become bigger experiences as you go, and I see that they're building deeper and deeper aspects of the lore of the world as they go. As they're interesting, they're like, hey, you may want to do these. Like, they're worth doing. And
you heard about, like, the ones that are marked with a plus?
Yes, I got those. Okay, I actually finally got my first 2 of those.
Excellent.
I don't want to spoil it because, like, where I'm in the game, I really thought would be, like, the last third of the game.
Oh, shit.
Based on trailers and stuff. No, I just finished the first third of the game.
Interesting.
I have no clue where the story is going. It's crazy. Whenever it gets going, like really gets going, you're like, oh, can it match that demo low? Yeah, my jaw was on the floor many a time.
I'm glad to hear that, because the first couple of hours weren't like that for me, and maybe for you too. They were slow, but then they started to build up, and then there was a point where it got just like so bombastic. It was amazing. I texted you just like, oh my god, it was so amazing. I'm like, how did they top this? And then I turned it off and I guess didn't manually save or whatever. So I had to redo it again. And I was like, cool, I get to do this again.
I know which part you're talking about. Yeah.
Fuck, that fight was amazing. I thought it was so cool.
Said that the story, Koji Fox and Yoshi P have said the story is, and what they want this game is kind of be more like a roller coaster. Mm-hmm. And so you do, like, so me going back and starting fresh, play through the demo to the first 2.5 hours, and that's like that first initial drop off of roller coaster, and then it slows and it starts building back up. You're going back up the ramp again, and the tension just keeps building and building until you release into this just crazy moment. Mm-hmm. And it's just that. That's what this game is. Like, big, bombastic, huge, jaw on floor set piece. Then slow it back down a bit, have character moments, quieter moments, and start ratcheting up the tension again. And then just keep doing it.
That's really cool. Crazy. You kind of need that when you have those jaw on the floor moments. You need time to breathe. Afterwards.
Yeah.
There's so many questions I want to ask, but they're all story spoilers. And I was listening to the Kind of Funny Games cast where Tim Geddes was like, I want to talk about just the spoiler stuff, and I can't. This is a non-spoiler cast.
Yeah. I am loving the story, and in the game. I feel like I understand the combat way more now. I'm doing just crazy things now. Stuff that I didn't think I'd be able to do at the start. Now I'm just like, oh, I'm feeling comfortable with it. Do you have to be crazy and flashy? No. I bet there is a way to play this game that is very much just basic attacks and stuff and win. But my god, does it take a lot of time and be slow? And honestly, actually, where I am now, I doubt you could do that. I think you actually have to engage with all the combat mechanics. Like, you need to be doing stagger damage and using abilities to do stagger damage.
Yeah, sure.
And just planning your... Like, I have a full ability suite now. 3 stances, 6 abilities. More abilities than I can slot in, so...
Yeah.
I am starting to really construct my build and being like, all right, I'll use the term stance, because I don't want to tell people if they're not aware of how you get the abilities are.
Exactly.
But I have 3 stance slots and I have 6 abilities between 2 in each one. And now I can make loadouts, basically. I can craft my build. I'm like, I like this type of ability. I don't really want to do aerial stuff. I just don't like aerial launchers in combat. So I just dropped all those abilities. I'm just ground-based.
How does that work with the flying enemies?
I still can get up to them.
Okay.
Phoenix Dash will dash you up to them.
Okay.
And then you attack them a couple times in the air, and they'll fall, and then I can do a plunging strike, which is one I bought, so that I can then return to ground and do damage when I hit the ground. It's pretty easy overall.
Cool.
You don't have to do aerial stuff, as far as I've seen. And I get what I think the skill floor is really low for the combat system, but the skill ceiling is also very, very high.
That's cool.
And we're going to see some really flashy movies and combos people are going to throw to YouTube and be like, look at this amazing thing. I took this boss down in like 30 seconds with this unhinged combo of all my abilities going and stringing them all together, and be like, that's insane. But I feel like this combat system lets you do that and really express yourself in that way.
Well, I really like the idea that like all of that is there, and whoever the guy is says like, this is my combat masterpiece. It fucking seems like it.
I think he's talked about it because of that low skill floor. He feels like it's his most approachable that he's ever made, but doesn't kneecap itself to that high end play or the ability to grow and learn into it.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, playing DMC5 or whatever for a little bit, like, or even Bayonetta. It feels harder to get into at the beginning, where this one feels easier. And I think part of that too, even if you can't get into it, being able to use the Ring of Timely Attack or whatever.
Oh yeah, timely accessories.
Yeah, it gives you access to that, which I just keep comparing it in my head to Street Fighter VI modern controls, where I'm able to play Street Fighter VI at a level that I was never able to before, because I'm able to make the decisions. I just couldn't do the inputs well enough, timing wise. And this is the same way I'm playing with that one ring. I play with the combo ring and do everything else myself, and it just makes me enjoy the game more. The downside is the same downside as Street Fighter 6 though, where Street Fighter 6 when you do modern controls, when you do light punch, medium punch, or light attack, medium attack, heavy attack, it might be a kick, it might be a punch, you lose the granularity of choosing. And it's the same thing with this ring. Like, it just does, like, it uses like some of my big attacks early. Wouldn't have wanted to use it there.
That is the sacrifice make.
It is, and it's pushing me, now that I'm getting better at the game, it's pushing me to think maybe take the ring off in situations where I do want to choose.
That matches someone else, a YouTuber I saw, the Game Completionist.
Gerard?
Gerard. He did a video, and he talked about at the start used the Ring of Timely Evasion.
Oh, okay.
So he would get the R1s sometimes.
Sure.
That doesn't prevent you from precision dodging yourself. It's like if you miss the precision dodge window, you get the R1 prompt. And he was using it as a way to train himself to precision dodge. Like, can I get through this fight and never see the R dodge prompt? But if I do, fine. But he got to a point where he could take it off. He trained himself to, like, he's like, I don't need it anymore. Like, I can precision dodge. Like, I trust in my ability to play this game. And it's cool. It's exactly what you're saying.
It's such a cool on-ramp.
Yep.
where you get into it, and like the combos that I'm doing are like fucking nuts. But as it's happening, I'm like, I know exactly how this is happening. I know how to switch between them. And you still can switch between them anyway, so you can do it yourself. So it doesn't exactly what you just said. So it's very, very cool. And as you get more accessories that are better, like I'm using an accessory slot that I probably need for something else eventually, you know.
If you want, it's part of your build. I can speak to. Actually, I like speaking to. There are some criticisms of this game that have come out. Oh boy, that skill up review.
I don't know if I ever saw it actually.
He put it out. He's like, I do not recommend this game. I hate this game.
Oh shit!
Not I hate it. He just really dislikes it. He thinks it's a terrible Final Fantasy.
I could see
I
that.
disagree with him in a lot of ways. It's a weird review, I will say. And a lot of times when I think in that review, and I actually think the bigger discourse when I see this game now coming up online quickly after many days of, it's not really discussion about Final Fantasy XVI itself and the quality of the game that it is. It is, is this a Final Fantasy game?
Yes, right.
And I'm on the side of, well, this is 100% a Final Fantasy game. It's right there in the title. They chose that, but there's just this weird thing. They're like, it's not like older Final Fantasy. I'm like, what's older Final Fantasy games? Like, do you want me to go through all the different types of combat that have been in Final Fantasy? They're like, it's not like the ones that have come before. I'm like, 12 wasn't turn-based. 12 was real-time with pause. It's very Western RPG, in that way. Not your typical thing. 10 was full turn-based, not ATB. Everything was ATB for a big chunk before that. The MMOs are very different. 13 has its own weird, not ATB thing. So 15 isn't. 15 is still an action game. So it's just hard for me when people are like, this isn't like Final Fantasy. I'm like, what is it? What is Final Fantasy when it comes to mechanics? I want to know, because they're all very different at this point.
I think it's a strange critique. I mean, I understand it. People are having the same critique about Zelda. Like, this is not a Zelda.
Actually, I thought the same thing. It's like when Breath of the Wild came out, and people, there's that, like, this isn't Zelda. I'm like, I think at its heart, it's still very much. It is just the parts of the underlying themes and core identity of what Zelda is in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Yep.
But not the trappings that had been there for a while.
Well, it just seems very. I have not played a lot of Final Fantasies, and I'm enjoying my time at 16 a lot. It reminds me so much of 15. It's very weird.
It's not incredibly different from like the action standpoint of 15. Like, I think the combat in 16 is better. It's more defined. It's better. Like it's an actual, like, really digs into it. But 15 was quite the departure.
I'm sure it was. And it's not even just the combat, although I think that's a big part of it. It's also like, I don't know exactly how to say it, but like if you put like tracing paper over an earlier image of something, like, and you traced on it, like it carries forward some of the framework.
Sure.
The music cues, especially like Sid's music.
Sid's music are so good.
And whenever you like drove into the fucking gas station in 15, like, and Sid's music started playing, like, it's just like, and it started making me think, is Final Fantasy like The Legend of Zelda, where, and maybe this is like a deeper Japanese mythology thing, where like you have a mythology and every iteration of that mythology has the same like pillars, but it just remixes them. It retells it in a different way.
That's pretty consistent with Final Fantasy.
Okay.
In a lot of ways, it's not the same story. The stories are all wildly different, but they thematically touch on the same things almost all the time. Like,
but do they bring in some of the same characters? Like,
yes, there's always a Sid. Or there's been a Sid. There's always been a Sid since, I don't even remember, 3 or 4 maybe earlier than that. But there's always a Sid. And is Sid always the exact same character? No.
Right. He's not. Yeah.
But that's just, yeah, they have that. They have Moogles, they have Chocobos, they have trappings like that. They have potions and feast downs and high potions, and elemental magics are huge. Crystals, like, there's a big one. Crystals are huge here.
Yeah.
That's one that kind of went away for a while. All the I mean, all the games up through 6 all dealt with crystals. Like, that was a huge part of Final Fantasy. Like, hell, even the spin-off, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Like, that was, like, crystals played a key part of almost all the stories. That was huge. Final Fantasy Tactics dealt with crystals a lot, and in different ways. Like, they went away from crystals for a long time. 13 dealt with crystals. That was a big thing. But this one just brings it back to that. They just decided to make a whole story around nations built around these crystals, these big, giant mother crystals. Summons have been in there a long time. All these are pretty classic summons that have been around for a long time. Yeah, so, like, you're right. It's a remake. They remix elements to tell their own stories, and they also thematically land very similar of... this is where the Game of Thrones thing was probably not going to be exact, because, as I said, I guarantee the story, while it's going to be dark and have some tragedy to it, Final Fantasy is never cynical at all.
Yeah.
It's not a cynical story. It's not told by cynical storytellers. Like, hope is an important aspect of the entire thing, and overcoming obstacles and tragedy is a big part of it. So... we'll get there. 16 has a lot of tragedy. I'll give it that. But it also has a lot of hope.
I mean, it starts there, you know?
Yeah.
It starts in fucking tragedy. And it just keeps going. Like, the whole... God, I'll ask you off mic some of the questions that I had. But the way that it brings them... They cleared up the confusion was still, like, so sad. But never stopping. Kept moving forward. And, like, in a really, like, authentic way that made a lot of sense. And Sid, man, fucking rocks.
Sid, this is the best Sid out of any Final Fantasy I've ever played. I love this Sid so much.
So good.
The voice actor is amazing.
He is amazing.
You nailed him from Game of Thrones.
Hell yeah.
Like, okay, he was in Game of Thrones.
Dagmar Cleftjaw, what the fuck?
Yeah, Dagmar Cleftjaw, Lorath, and D4 that just came out. But he's been he was in Game of Thrones, but a bunch of British TV as well.
Yeah.
He hasn't actually done that many video games. But the video games he's now done in the last have been very popular, and he's got some major roles.
He should do more. It's almost like Odin.
He says he wants to in interviews. Like, he enjoys doing it. It's just the script. He just depends on what it is. But it sounds like he had a blast making this game. And his voice is just so good.
It is so fucking good. As I'm listening, I'm like, is he recording? And they must be. Like, they're recording separately. He's not recording opposite of Clive.
Sometimes he was.
Oh, really?
They talked about pre-COVID for about a year, 6 months to a year. They got to record in the same studio together with mocap. Not all of it. COVID hit, then they had to start recording separately, of course. Sure. But Ben Starr said many times he is very happy that they had time in the studio together to bounce off each other.
Yep.
Because it just, like he said, like, it helped them, like, find these characters and how these characters interact with each other and talk to each other.
There are parts of the early game where it feels like maybe that was them in the studio, because it comes across very differently than other voice acting that I've heard. It feels like they're there, like, playing off each other. Exactly what you said.
Jill, and the voice actor for Jill and Ben Starr got stage time as well together.
Cool.
Honestly, the voice acting in this game is just great through and through.
So far, it's superb. And
I'm just like, wow, guys.
The thing you said earlier about, like, maybe this is a game not only for people's first Final Fantasy, but first video game. I didn't think about that, but that's a really good point, because if their focus is telling a fucking story, and it seems like it is, because there's a ton of cutscenes.
Yes, there are.
A ton, and they're taking inspiration from a series and a book series, a television series. They want to do that in a different medium. If they the interstitials are gameplay, they want to make sure that's accessible to as many people as possible. It all kind of makes sense. With this being story first and story heavy.
It is very story heavy. Actually, the one thing that I had realized, the point that I had just gotten to last night when playing, and where I started, actually felt like, let's break this down by like a TV show. I finished season 1. I'm starting season 2.
Ah, interesting.
That's actually what it felt like.
Okay.
And and it's not bad. It feels great. I'm like, I'm here for it. That was a great ending finale. let's see what the next season brings.
Yep.
Because it totally has that feeling to it.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I'm a third of the way through. I'm starting season 2. Okay, there'll be a season 3, basically. I do think this is kind of a 3-act kind of story in the end.
Do you think there's DLC? Have they talked about that?
They have. They said they don't need to. They don't plan on it right now. They could, but in the interviews they said like this ends as a complete story. They will do nothing to expand on this story specifically. It is a complete thing, and they stand by that.
I know you're not at the end of the game, but what about like a Final Fantasy 16 2 kind of thing?
I don't know. I don't know at the end of the game. I have no clue where this game's going.
Because they could all be dead at the end. Who the fuck knows? I just feel like
I don't know.
Fucking Clive and Sid and Jill, man. Like I want them to keep going and have more stories together.
Yes. I will say, the other Sid thing. Here's my little nugget of Final Fantasy trivia. I will say Sid is the thunder icon in this game. I'll give that little spoiler. He's Final Fantasy Tactics also had a character named Sidolphus in it. That was actually the name Sidolphus. But in Tactics, he was Thunder God Sid. Was the character's name. And I'm like, this isn't... They didn't just choose to do this in 16. This is a complete... they did that on purpose.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, this is our Thunder God Sid again. And a lot of the team that made 16, like behind the scenes, has a long track record with the Tactics team. A lot of them. Right. The people that worked on Tactics and Vagrant Story and 12, all the Evil East games, in Final Fantasy 14 and 16 now. So it all tracks. There's a lot of references to those games throughout. You don't need to know them. You just, if they're there, you hear them, you see them and hear them. You talk about music. There's a lot of little segments of songs. Sometimes I'm like, I know that segment. I know that. And then it flows into something different. But I'm like, they're pulling leitmotifs from all the different Final Fantasy games. Soken is a god when it comes to music, honestly. His music is so good.
The music in this game, like not sure if it's the battle music or like music where like battles coming or something like that, but it's like a cello and it's kind of like almost like a loop where it's like really low. It's not, there's not a ton going on and it's so evocative. It's oh god, it fucking kills me every time.
And then like you said, Sid's music, Sid's theme, and the Hideaways theme, and just like boom. And you've been further. I know because you passed where you are. You've passed that point. You've heard the fully orchestrated version of his theme.
Yes,
which was like, I'm like, holy shit, this is so good. Yeah, the music is incredible. It goes places too. You'll get to some more future story beats, and you'll be like, "What the hell is this music?" Like, cool. It's not just symphonic. It goes places that I was not expecting. So, yeah. If anyone wants that, those discs, it's a 7-disc set or 8-disc if you get the deluxe edition, and 215 tracks.
When I saw that number, I was like, "Are you kidding me? That's amazing."
It's a lot of music.
Is this going to be streaming eventually, or is it only?
Usually it always goes up streaming. Eventually, probably a year later. It's a while.
Oh, okay. That's a long time.
It is a long time. But the stuff of Vision usually makes it up there. To all the streaming services. But yeah, I don't know. I really enjoy this game quite a bit. As you said, it's aggressively linear. It is. You're getting to where you're at now is where it opens up a little bit.
Okay.
Like just a little bit, not huge, but you actually have a larger map that you can do some slight exploring and go off to the sides and see what's there. There's not a whole lot. But I would say it continues to open up more and more. And where I'm at, I feel like I'm a little bit more, I can bounce between different areas and revisit places. And then sometimes I'm like, I'm going into a dungeon now. And it actually feels like, weirdly, like a Final Fantasy XIV dungeon. It has that structure to it. Where the dungeons aren't like solve puzzles or anything. It's honestly, it's an amusement park ride. Wander around. Maybe there's a couple diverging paths, but they come back together, collect things. But you're going to have small battle, big boss battle, big cinematic event, next. They're putting you through a ride, not like a big exploration area. So I'd approach any kind of dungeon stuff like that. That's how they're made. These are not meant to be like Zelda dungeons or some of the... Honestly, I can't remember the last time Final Fantasy has had a huge dungeons you explore kind of vibe to it.
Have you, for me at least, and it's fine, I just need to stop doing it, the exploring piece is just not super rewarding, and it's maybe not supposed to be.
I mean, you can. There's no reason to grind in the game. I just can't help myself but go look at what every corner is and see if there's something.
Either, yeah,
and it's fine. I don't need to find stuff. Weirdly, I actually have a lot of fun just doing the combat as I'm doing it, and it's not a lot of combat to just run around.
Yeah.
But I would say that if there's one thing, the one thing in my actual criticism of the game is that just exploring is not really that rewarding at all.
Yes, exactly.
Until moments when it really is. Because there are just random things sometimes that you come across and I'm like, damn, that was really good.
I was like, for me,
it's inconsistent.
If I could just know that there's nothing really interesting, then I can stop doing it. But I always see like the pillars of like, oh, there's a whatever, and I run over there and it's 2 gil.
There's stuff like that, but there's been like other times I've explored and it's like, oh, because I went and explored into this fight over here, I have this new this like piece of gear that is better than anything that I can craft.
Okay. Well,
so there is stuff sometimes. It's just inconsistent, which is the unfortunate part.
Yes.
Which then leads to that the actual crafting is pretty... I wish it had more to it. Because I'm getting all sorts of stuff, and I'd like to use it to make things, and I can't.
One review that I heard was basically like, because of the side quests that happen eventually, you just get better stuff than you could even craft. So it's like, you can kind of ignore the crafting. I don't know.
Probably at some point. I don't know if you can ignore the weapons completely. But I would totally agree that you could probably ignore the equipment slots themselves. Accessories, you can't craft. You can't craft in the base game. In New Game Plus, you can craft accessories to make stronger accessories.
Oh,
like you can get 2 of the same accessory and merge them to double their power.
Okay.
Like,
oh wow,
New Game Plus sounds insane for like actually having a ton more stuff in it. And to platinum this game, you have to complete New Game Plus.
Right. It's meant for 2 playthroughs.
2 playthroughs. I guess it could be a lot faster because if you just want to do New Game Plus, you can skip cutscenes and everything. But we'll see when I finish it if this will be like a Mass Effect 2 moment where I'll finish it and be like, I just want to start again because I don't want to be done with these characters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Because I've heard that the New Game Plus Final Fantasy mode, the hard mode, is actually legitimately hard. And that's what some people I've seen some criticism like. They're like, I wish they would just made that mode available from the start. For people that are skilled in this.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, they made a choice here, and I think, from my eye looking in, they are making this game for an easy on-ramp for people who are not familiar with this. They are not assuming game knowledge, previous Final Fantasy knowledge or previous game knowledge of any type going into this game.
Yeah, and that's why I keep feeling like they just feel like they have a banger of a story. They want people to experience the fucking story, and it's still a video game, so making it as a gentle on-ramp as possible.
Yep, and it's weird to see people do that now, but it's also... looking at sales of Final Fantasy over time, it's kind of stagnated.
Yeah.
Like, they're not down, but like Final Fantasy VII Remake didn't sell more copies than Final Fantasy 15. That didn't sell more copies than Final Fantasy 13. Or it did. 13 was lower. 12 was right around
15 was the high watermark.
15 was high. 14 is a high watermark now, is the high watermark. And
that's true.
7 originally. The original 7 sold like 20 million copies. Almost. Like, they've not come close to the original 7 since that time. Except 14. 14's at like 15 or 16 million copies last I looked. But the franchise itself had kind of hit like a ceiling on like its sales. Like, nothing was really going above about 5 million copies sold. And this game's trying to like push this more and being like, okay, this is an important franchise. play it.
We're telling an amazing story. We want as many people to experience it as possible.
And they want people to be able to have that word of mouth saying, like, I experienced this crazy story. And the person's like, I don't think I can play that. I'm not comfortable with action games. I'm not comfortable playing a video game. Like, you'll be fine. Trust me. Just play it.
Yep.
It's got your back. So, at least from my eyes looking in, that's how I see the game. And I will go on the side that this is a Final Fantasy game. It's just another reinvention of itself, but thematically and the core concepts are all Final Fantasy still.
Can I ask you a related dumb question?
Sure.
Is it an RPG?
Yes. I don't see why anyone is the RPG. This is another thing where I say, I'm like, well, how much RPG have previous Final Fantasies been? Because they haven't, like, I would say Final Fantasies in general, especially things like 8 and 9 and 10, you don't get a lot of... It's not like your Diablo or very Western RPG with lots of loot and gear and different things. Like, that's not what these games are. It's usually all about if you have a party, you have their class and their abilities they get and the leveling up there. Yep. Increases stats. You level up here, increases stats. You have 6 equipment slots that can do all different types of things, and you have 6 ability slots separated into 3 different stances, and you have far more abilities than you could actually ever slot into those.
Yeah, I think
probably like 4 or 5 times. It is, and it's not a party game anymore. You are Clive. This is a solo game, and really the expression of your character comes in your choice on how you build your character, because the accessories all feed back into the abilities as well.
And I feel like this may be wrong, but I feel like the stances are sort of your party.
They are. I would say they're jobs. That's your choosing jobs. I think you have in total of 8 stances by the end of the game, and you can only ever have 3.
Yep.
So
that's what I've read, at least.
So. You kind of are like that is your expression of your character, is really deeply defining your ability set, and then equipping accessories and gear that helps that ability set, and does the things that you want to do. So I don't know. I still think it's an RPG. Is it the deepest RPG ever? No, but I would never call any of the Final Fantasies super deep RPGs. They're not super number crunchy in a lot of ways ever. Right. Like, you just always see like, yep, that's the better weapon. Equip it. Next.
Put your materia in.
Yeah, actually 7 has probably it has materia. And that's probably when people think of like deep RPG, I'm like, well, the gear itself has basic stats and then has a variable number of materia slots, which are your ability slots. So your gear determines how many abilities and what you can equip.
Yep.
But really, actual stat-wise, they don't do a whole lot. And you only have 3. You have a weapon, an armor, and an accessory, I think. Or is it a weapon and an accessory? Maybe not even armor. I can't remember.
In 16?
No. In 7.
Oh, fuck.
I can't remember what 7 is, because some of them don't even have... Oh, no, it's 10s and you have armor. You just have a weapon and an accessory.
Interesting.
Like, I wouldn't call like Final Fantasy's deep RPGs ever. That's not been their thing, except specific ones. 5 being a specific one where it had the job system. Yep. You're building job. But again, it's not the gear that's you're building. It's you're leveling lots of job, mix and matching. A lot, like 16's combat. Just, it's not a party. Your jobs are all these stances, and the 3 to 4 abilities for each stance that you have to pick and choose between what you're upgrading or not. I will say, free respec, amazing.
Oh my god, I already did it once. I was like,
I've done it like 6 or 7 times.
Yeah, you have? That's nice.
Just because every time I'm like, well, what do these abilities do? Yeah. I get new things, and I'm like, what does it do? I want to experiment and see what I like and what I don't like, and there's no penalty to do it.
Right. It's really genius, because at the beginning I pumped stuff into mastery and a bunch of different things, and I was like, why am I doing this? I want that. I think it's called Pillar Flames, the thing that like attacks a number of enemies around you and then helps your HP increase or replenish or whatever. I may have the title wrong on that one, but
Is it the like really expensive one?
Really expensive one, yeah.
That's the Phoenix. I call them, those are the ultimates. Like each one has one of those.
Exactly.
Like, yeah,
that's right.
I actually haven't messed with those too much.
That one is super cool. And then I went and found one of those, like, 8 things to know at the beginning of Final Fantasy. And it was like, use that skill.
Okay.
Here's why. And it said basically because you can attack numerous enemies at one time and heal at the same time. There's not many abilities to let you heal at the same time. That's the one that pops when I'm doing the auto combo. Sure. I don't need to heal right now,
Is it Flames of Rebirth?
That's it. Thank you. Flames of Rebirth.
Pillar of fire that burns all enemies caught within the flames while also partially restoring Clive's HP.
Yep.
And it has a pretty big cooldown, if I remember right.
It does, yes. Which is fine.
That's what they are. Those each stance has one of those ultimates basically, and they all have long cooldowns.
So I was happy for the respec because when I got to the point where I had that much points, basically, I could then spec into that, and I've been playing with that. I was like, yeah, this is good for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm at the point now. I mean, maybe you're later where you have more potions, but I have 4 regular potions and 3 high potions.
No, that's all I have still.
Okay, it's like that's a little stingy. It hasn't hurt me too badly so far, but there were a couple fights where actually, never mind. Because the game lets you cheese it, where if you get defeated, you come back at some bookmark of the fight, with all your fucking potions back.
Yep.
You're like, oh, okay, well, we're good.
Again,
they want us to get through the fights to the story.
Yes, they do. They do not want to punish you in this game. And there was a recent translated interview with one of the leads of the game saying this is not meant to be a punishing game in that way. They're alluding to the Souls games in Elden Ring and things that. They're like, that's not what we wanted to make, and we're not going to make that type of game. We want people to get through our game without having to feel like they have to just beat their head against it constantly to get there.
Yeah, exactly. They want to bounce off. I'm sure.
Yeah, they don't want that at all.
You get a dungeon that you can't figure out. You're like, fuck this, I'm out of it.
Yeah. They want people to experience this game and enjoy it.
Yep.
Whatever that means for you.
And we are. I love the linearity after Tears of the Kingdom.
I can see that.
Obviously, love Tears of the Kingdom. This morning, with our game time, my daughter wanted to now play through Breath of the Wild.
Oh boy!
So we started up Breath of the Wild, fresh save, on her account, and she proceeded to go to the tower to unlock that, and then go to the first 3 shrines and do them all by herself.
Nice.
Yes. So very cool. And it's kind of cool because Tears of the Kingdom, the controls are a little more complex than Breath of the Wild. So she knows how to use all the abilities in Tears of the Kingdom. So she's using magnesis, she's using the bombs, she's got it all figured out. The thing that sucks is the menu, where you go through the menu with right stick, instead of paging with right or left trigger.
Yeah.
And she's like, why is it like this? It was the first game. There are some other things that are annoying too, going back to it. But boy, it's still fucking good.
Yeah.
So that's what we've been doing that. And otherwise, I've been playing Final Fantasy XVI.
Yep.
So.
Well, cool.
Anything else for
not right now.
Audience? Okay.
Good.
All right. Well, this has been episode 390 of Prof and Dev Play Games. If we can figure it out, episode 391 will be us recording on my phone while we're face to face.
Oh boy. Okay.
We'll figure that out. Maybe it'll be in the car. Who knows?
That's true.
We have a long time to
We got 5 hours.
Exactly. We could record a little podcast. But Anthony might be leaving his Final Fantasy XVI behind, but he's got a couple more days. I'm going to a conference in LA, so I won't have my PS5 with me after tonight.
Oh, no.
So I'll get way further behind you, man.
Yes, you will.
But I'm bringing my Switch, and just to add fucking confusion to everything, I'm going to start Final Fantasy VI.
Nice. That's cool.
I think I would just like to compare them as I'm playing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, all right. Well, thanks for listening. If you like us, rate us on your podcast service of choice, and we'll see you next week for whatever the fuck we decide to do.
Later, everyone.
All right, folks. See you.